Hi, this is Smash Rundown. If you enjoy movie reviews, short, and trailer reactions, you're in the right place. So want to subscribe and hit the like button down below.
Today we're reviewing Uncharted. Uncharted is a 2022 action-adventure film directed by Ruben Fleischer, starring Tom Holland as Nathan Drake and Mark Wahlberg as Victor Sully Sullivan.
Nathan Drake is recruited by seasoned treasure hunter Victor Sullivan to recover a fortune lost 500 years ago by the House of Moncada.
So looking at the good, it was a fun movie. There was some enjoyable action scenes. It was a bit over the top sometimes, which was good.
What do you mean some enjoyable action scenes?
Okay, there was a lot of enjoyable action scenes.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of fun things, and I don't play the game, so I don't know the whole formula, but the intro scene, I know it's very much like the game.
Yes.
And that was really awesome.
It's fun when there was a lot of callbacks to the game. They did try and represent the game a bit, so I was happy with that. Kinda. The bad's still coming. And I like Tom Holland as an actor. I'm somewhat convinced that he could be Nathan Drake. I do think he's way too nice to be Nathan Drake, though. I don't think he can be as hard as Drake needs to be.
And obviously he's too young.
Oh, yeah, he's way too young. But I also can't see him growing into the role, if that makes sense. I think, just in general, Tom Holland is a nice guy, and he's never going to have that hard-as-nails persona, and I don't know if he can pull that off. Probably could pull it off, but I'm not sure if he'd even want to pull that off.
Although the mid-credit scene, he is harsher.
The mid-credit scene is probably the best thing about the movie, by far. And he is a bit harsher, but I'm not sure if he could ever quite get there. I don't know if he could ever quite be that character.
But I think that it shows progression, because I feel like in the beginning of the movie, he is young and naive and maybe not as harsh. And later on, towards the mid-credit scene, it does feel harsher.
Yeah.
So it feels like there's some progression.
Definitely some progression.
But I don't know, will it reach the level of progression you want, though?
Yeah. So that's why I was somewhat convinced.
And I don't even think they want to reach the level of progression you would want.
No, I don't think they want to go quite there.
Because it is a movie, yes, for fans, but also for the general population.
And if we're being honest, the movie was built around Tom Holland, so they're never going to go there. If the movie was built around an actor that was a bit harder, maybe they would go there. But for Tom Holland, they can't. They won't.
It definitely felt like he was cast and then the script was adapted for him.
Yes.
Or written for him. I don't even think adapted for him. It felt like written.
Completely written for him.
And I didn't have a problem with that, but I'm not really a fan of the games because I haven't played them.
I enjoyed the games and I enjoy the character that I've come to know over the past. When did the games come out? It's been more than a decade. So I've really got to know this character, and a younger version of him. Can I see Tom Holland being it? Maybe, but I would have liked to have seen the character I've grown to love on the screen.
I think just in general, talking about Tom Holland being a good actor, I think most of the movie had good actors.
Yeah, you can't complain about the acting. Even him and Wahlberg together, they work well together. I was happy.
And the best actor, obviously.
Antonio Banderas. He makes a really, really, really good Uncharted bad guy. He fits the mold for that type of bad guy, and I was pleasantly surprised with that. One of the best things about the movie was his performance in it. Because there wasn't any, grey area with him. He was just bad guy. Yeah. Nothing... You didn't question it. Oh, what's his motives? Why is he... Bad guy. Cool. I can get behind that.
And he even had, a long history on why he was interested in this particular treasure.
Yes.
And part of him was, not completely wrong.
No, not at all. But still a bad guy. And being a huge fan of the game, it was great to see a cameo by Nolan North, the voice actor for Nathan Drake. So cool. So much fun.
And then, obviously, the last act was a bit crazy.
Yes.
Which I enjoyed.
It was very fun, and the fight scenes there got a lot more quippy, and it was bonkers, and that was enjoyable. I really thoroughly enjoyed the last act. And it is quite in line with the games, because the games do get a bit crazy at the end and bonkers a bit. So that was great. I was happy.
Yeah, it was very fantastical and not realistic at all, but it was fun.
Yes.
And just when you watch the end, you'll know what I'm talking about, but I just don't feel like I'm as greedy as some characters. So I think I would have had a better end.
Then looking at the bad, the movie's not quite right. There's something missing. It's not really what I wanted from an Uncharted movie. Story-wise, character-wise, whatever. Just something didn't work for me.
But that's the problem when you have like games to movies or books to movies even. It's never quite right. It's never 100% there. And I think it's very rare when you leave a cinema after watching an adaptation like that and think that was spot on. I actually don't know if I've ever read a book or had a game to movie transfer that I felt like, yes, 100%.
I can't think of any. And I get that games often try and appeal to the game audience and the movie audience, but it never quite works. I'm thinking of like Resident Evil, which I know you hate. Monster Hunter tried to appeal to both.
I hated that too.
Monster Hunter fans hated it. We found that out very quickly. Just a couple of Reddit searches. All of them, they never quite hit those either audience, really. I'm not saying this one didn't hit either audience, but as a very big fan of the game, it did not. I wanted more. I wanted something else.
You wanted it more like the game.
I did, yes.
And I think we always feel like that. If you think of, like you were saying, Resident Evil, that does not feel like the game at all. And I was completely pissed because I feel like they didn't stay true at all.
Yeah.
Not the newest Resident Evil,
The original.
The original ones. I feel like, from what I've seen with you playing the game and stuff, at least this was at least in line with the game.
I could recognize the game in the movie.
More than recognize it. There was some similarities in, it wasn't 100% perfect, but at least, it felt more like the game. When you do like Resident Evil, even Silent Hill sometimes, it just falls so short, it makes me angry. So as long as it's not Resident Evil bad, and it's a bit better than Silent Hill, I think they did an okay job.
And then this, of course, brings in the question, should we be making video game movies anymore? Because stuff like Uncharted, I'm going to be pissed when The Last of Us comes out, the TV series, because that game has so much emotion in it. The story is amazing. The voice acting is some of the best ever. It cannot be topped. So the TV show is going to be a disappointment because it's not going to be the same. So should we be making, because we get a full story in games now. We get a full cinematic experience in games. You can't, Metal Gear Solid 4 has a 1.5 hour, 1 hour, 45 minutes cutscene. How do you translate a game that has cutscenes like that into a 2-hour movie? You're going to water it down. It's going to be not as good. So should we be doing this?
And for me, obviously, I think we should, because I view it as cross-pollination. Because not everyone's going to have played the game. And now you'll get some people watch the movie and say, I like the idea, I like where this is going, it was fun, I'm going to try out the game. And then obviously, no matter how much people complain, unless it's Resident Evil bad, you're going to go watch the movie if you enjoy the game.
Yeah.
Most likely.
I always watch the movies.
Even if you're not the biggest fan, we watched Monster Hunter, we did all of that, regardless. I feel like cross-pollination works both ways, because you have the movie maker making money from the gamers, obviously, and then you'll have those couple of people who might pick up the game after and say, you know what, this could be fun.
And as long as it's not a Resident Evil experience where you watch the movie and think, oh, this will be fun, and you go to the game and it's like,
this is
not the same
thing. Or when you watch them play the game, and I've played that game since the first game came out, like all our life, basically.
Yeah.
And I went to watch that first movie. I don't even know if I watched the whole movie. I was just so peeved at it. And I've not watched many of the other movies. I've watched snippets of it, but every time I start watching them, I just get so angry I can't continue. So at least if they don't mess it up that bad, then I view it as a win. Plus, it was just fun.
And it does have the pitfalls of a video game movie because it is trying to appeal to both markets, so it is hard to do. It was, like you say, still fun, but
still disappointed.
Disappointed. I'm not sure if we're going to continue on with it.
For me, as someone who isn't as familiar with the game, because I haven't really played it or anything, I still thought it was a fun movie. To me, it would be on par with like Jungle Cruise and those. It was fun. It was a fun adventure, get the treasure movie. And I enjoyed watching it because I enjoy those type of movies. So I was reasonably satisfied.
And then character-wise, had my complaints about Tom Holland with this movie. He's fine. I like Tom Holland, so it's hard to criticize him too much. Sadly. Mark Wahlberg acted as Mark Wahlberg. Like, that's all Mark Wahlberg ever acts as, is Mark Wahlberg. So, Scully's pretty iconic in the games, and I would have liked to have seen Sully, not Mark Wahlberg.
I think he tried, and at least they had good chemistry, so that saved it a bit. I'm wondering if it would have been worth having a different actor who didn't have as good chemistry. Because maybe I prefer the chemistry because it makes it more fun.
Perhaps, yeah.
But not to say they couldn't have made a better casting choice. And then the last bad that we'll talk about, and we kind of like skirt around it, and when you watch a movie you'll know why, is something that happens, towards the end on the plane. That is like, I did not expect that.
And I did not want that.
Yeah, it was disappointing, and I feel like it was bold, but had they made a different choice, it might have been more fun.
Yes. So overall, the mid-credits scene, it felt a lot more like the Uncharted franchise than the actual movie did. And the movie was fun and all, but I would have preferred if they just kept the whole movie in the same line with the after-credits scene. Would have been so much better.
Or mid-credits scene.
Mid-credits scene.
So, in terms of rating, I thought it was fun. Like I said, on par with Jungle Cruise, I'd give it a 7.
I gave it a 6.
So, 6.5. I think that's fair enough.
Yeah. And I think it's better than some movies we've given a 6.5 to. But just I expected so much, and I was so amped for more, that the little bit of disappointment did definitely damage the ranking.
I thought it was just fun. A general, fun, big screen movie.
Yeah.
That brings us to who should watch it. I think anyone who enjoys these action-adventure types, Indiana Jones, Jungle Cruise, you'll probably enjoy this movie.
Yeah. There are a lot of bad adaptations out there. What's your least favorite adaptation?
For me, obviously, Resident Evil. I hate it so much.
By far, 100%, the worst adaptation ever made is The Dark Tower. By far, 100%. No arguments, no discussion, The Dark Tower. So let us know in the comments down below, what is the second worst adaptation ever, in your mind?
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.
Later.